Save the mussels. It may not seem like a very relevant or important issue, but it's more serious than you may know. This video, shot by Eric Hupel, shows two tanks, both filled with pyroplankton, dirt, sediment, and bacteria, but watch what happens over the course of just an hour. As you can see, the mussels have begun to filter the water and make it absolutely clear. Now imagine how clear Lake Michigan would be if we had an entire population of mussels on Lake Michigan. But there's a problem.
These are zebra mussels. They're an invasive species that has taken over the Great Lakes. To hear more, this is Jerry Dennis with more on this subject.
The list of problems faced in the Great Lakes is pretty long, and they're significant too. There are almost 200 invasive species in the lakes right now. Some of them have been enormously destructive and expensive, like zebra and quagga mussels, a small mussel from the Baltic region that got here through the ballast tanks in ocean-going ships. They cover the bottom. You can find lots of places in the lakes where the bottom for a mile, 2 miles, is completely covered with them. They're like a carpet of mussels. Every one of those mussels filters all the microorganisms out of a liter of water every day. So, these waters have suddenly become devoid of life, practically. The mussels have taken out the bottom of the food pyramid.
Now we've established that the mussels are a major threat. We need to learn more about how the invasive mussels harm the environment. For this, we asked Megan Bradley, a mussel biologist in Minnesota, to ask how mussels are harmful.
Non-native mussels, like zebra mussels or quagga mussels, and while they do some of the same things, they filter, they eat, algae from the water, they don't have anything that consumes them. So they don't have any predators. So their populations get really large and they'll actually eat all of the food. So in the Great Lakes, some of our native fish also ate plankton and algae, just like our native mussels do.
Okay.
So zebra mussel populations and quagga mussel populations got so large that they actually ate all of the food that our native fish would be consuming. They also could have brought diseases, novel diseases from like the Black Sea where they were endemic, or when they die, because their lifespan is much shorter, the decomposition of their tissues actually lowers oxygen, which is really important for the fish and other aquatic insects, or fish, aquatic insects, and other native mussels. Like they need that oxygen in the water. And the decomposition releases pollutants, which actually can really harm native mussels and fish as well.
As you can see by this map, the zebra mussel population has grown to completely take over Lake Michigan. Now we answer the big question: how does the government impact this issue? The government is working with biology stations to find a way to safely get rid of the invasive species affecting the Great Lakes without harming the native species. But is there anything else we can do? The simple answer is to raise awareness of the issue. Raise awareness on how the issue first grew to what it is today and how to stop further damage. This photo may be a worst case scenario, but this still happens on a much smaller and more subtle scale. When people don't properly clean their fishing tools or check their boats for clams and mussels before heading to another fishing spot, it actually worsens the problem by spreading them across the U.S., as they can survive quite harsh conditions. Now, some people may argue that this isn't a huge issue since it doesn't infect the entire globe, which is true, but the invasive species have actually taken over more than just the Great Lakes, spanning from rivers and lakes in the eastern U.S. to almost the entirety of the Midwest. If we don't do anything about this issue, we could lose the beautiful lakes and rivers all over the U.S. in the blink of an eye.
So now you see that even if this issue doesn't get on TV a lot or in many newspapers, it is an issue and it must be taken care of.
Noah.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Grant. Hope you learned something and will help us find a way to a world with clean and beautiful lakes.